Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. Beware the quiet ones. They're the ones plotting the loudest victories. In a world obsessed with alphas roaring at the top of the food chain, sigmas, the enigmatic lone wolves, often fade into the background. But here's the catch. Pushing a sigma to the edge is like trying to corner a tiger you thought was tame. They don't just fight back, they rewrite the entire narrative. Fact. Studies in psychology reveal that individuals who thrive in solitude tend to develop higher levels of resilience and creativity. Now imagine combining those traits with the simmering rage of being underestimated. That's not just a comeback, it's a silent revolution. And here's the funny thing about sigmas. They won't even let you know they're making a move until you're already 5 steps behind, wondering how you got outplayed by someone who looked like they were just chilling. Brace yourself, because this isn't your typical underdog story. This is the surprising sigma comeback, where the quiet ones roar and the world never sees it coming. Number 1. Leveraging the power of no allies. When a sigma operates without allies, they achieve a kind of freedom most people can't even fathom. Unlike others who depend on networks or alliances for survival, a sigma doesn't need backup to make their moves. This lack of reliance isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. Without the burden of maintaining relationships, pleasing others, or seeking approval, they're free to focus entirely on their objectives. There's no one to betray them, no one to slow them down, and no one to dilute their vision with unnecessary opinions. This independence makes their comeback a force of nature. When pushed to the edge, they don't waste energy rallying troops or convincing anyone to help. They simply act decisively and without hesitation. And because their strategy is entirely self-contained, it's nearly impossible to predict. Their rivals are left scrambling, trying to guess their next move, while the sigma is already 2 steps ahead, moving with the kind of precision that comes from not having to compromise. More importantly, the sigma's detachment from alliances means they're adaptable to any situation. They don't have to worry about loyalty or navigating group dynamics. They can pivot, evolve, and strike where it hurts the most, all on their own terms. This autonomy also allows them to operate in absolute stealth. No one sees their comeback coming because there's no chatter, no team, no warning signs. Just the sudden, calculated rise of someone everyone thought was out of the game. What makes this even more dangerous is that a sigma's independence doesn't isolate them, it sharpens them. Every challenge they face becomes a personal crucible, and every victory is theirs alone. By standing apart, they create a kind of untouchable mystique that not only unsettles their adversaries, but also ensures their comeback is unforgettable. Number 2, the power of peripheral vision. Sigmas possess a unique ability to notice what others overlook, and this talent often becomes their most potent weapon. While most people focus on the obvious, battling it out in the crowded center where attention is thick and competition is fierce, sigmas quietly scan the periphery. They aren't distracted by the noise or blinded by the spotlight. Instead, they see the cracks in the system, the overlooked paths, and the hidden opportunities lying just outside everyone's line of sight. This power of peripheral vision isn't just about being observant. It's about thinking differently. A sigma doesn't chase what everyone else is after because they instinctively understand that the best moves are often the ones hiding in plain sight, just out of focus. They find untapped potential in situations that others dismiss as unimportant or too risky. To them, the fringes aren't dead ends. They're doorways to something extraordinary. When pushed to the edge, this ability becomes even more critical. A sigma under pressure doesn't waste time competing in crowded spaces. Instead, they look where no one else is looking. While others panic and try to seize control of the obvious, the sigma slips into the uncharted territory, turning the margins into their personal battlefield. What makes this approach so powerful is its unpredictability. Rivals trapped in the center of the storm never see the sigma coming because they're too fixated on the obvious. By the time they realize there was an opening, the sigma has already claimed it. It's not magic, it's mastery of perception, seeing beyond what's in front of you and acting on what others are blind to. In a world obsessed with the center, sigmas thrive on the edges, turning overlooked opportunities into game-changing triumphs. Number 3, Redefining victory. For a Sigma, success isn't a pre-packaged idea handed down by society or dictated by others. When they stage a comeback, it's not about returning to an old position or proving they can play by someone else's rules. Instead, they redefine victory entirely, bending the concept to suit their unique values and goals. This is what makes their resurgence not only surprising, but transformative. While most people chase traditional markers of success, money, power, status, a Sigma steps back and asks, what does winning look like for me? This approach flips the script, leaving others confused and scrambling to understand their motives. The Sigma doesn't care about fitting into a system they've already outgrown. Their return isn't about reclaiming a title or fitting into a box. It's about building something entirely new that reflects who they've become. This redefinition is often what makes their comeback so shocking. Their success doesn't look like anyone else's, and because of that, it's difficult to predict or measure. Rivals might expect them to fight for the usual trophies, only to discover that the Sigma has moved the finish line to an entirely different playing field. By the time the world catches on, the Sigma is already thriving in a space that no one else even thought to compete in. Redefining victory also means that a Sigma's comeback is deeply personal. It's not about impressing others or seeking validation. It's about living on their own terms. This independence from external expectations makes their return not only powerful, but enduring. They don't just win, they create a version of winning so authentic and unique that it leaves everyone else questioning their own definition of success. For a Sigma, the ultimate triumph is proving that victory isn't something to follow, it's something to invent. Number 4. Fusing calculation with instinct. A Sigma's power lies in their ability to merge two seemingly opposing forces, calculation and instinct. When under pressure, most people either overanalyze until they're paralyzed by indecision or rely solely on gut feelings, hoping for the best. A Sigma, however, doesn't choose between the two. They blend them into a seamless weapon. Their calculated side is razor sharp, capable of planning moves with precision. They analyze the situation, map out possible outcomes, and anticipate the reactions of others. But just when you think their strategy is predictable, they let instinct take the reins. This raw, unfiltered intuition allows them to pivot in ways no one can foresee, adapting in real time to the unexpected. This combination makes them dangerously effective. Calculation keeps them grounded and prepared, while instinct allows them to be fluid and daring. Rivals can't box them in because their actions don't follow a strict formula. One moment they're moving with the precision of a chess master, and the next they're striking with the unpredictability of a wild animal. It's this duality that makes their comeback so unstoppable. They're playing two games at once and no one else even realizes it. What's even more striking is how naturally they balance the two. A Sigma doesn't hesitate when making decisions. They trust their preparation but aren't afraid to throw it out the window if the moment demands something entirely different. This harmony between planning and instinct gives them a unique edge, allowing them to thrive in chaos while others falter. When a Sigma is pushed to the edge, this fusion becomes their defining trait. They don't just react, they outmaneuver. Every move is deliberate yet instinctive, making them a force that's as precise as it is unpredictable and nearly impossible to counter. Number 5. Becoming the unstoppable force. A Sigma comeback is not a return to form, it's a reinvention so complete that it leaves no trace of their former limitations. When pushed to the edge, a Sigma doesn't just rise, they evolve into something unrecognizable, something unstoppable. This transformation is not about reclaiming lost ground. It's about creating an entirely new reality that renders their previous struggles irrelevant. Unlike others who aim to bounce back, a Sigma doesn't cling to what once was. They see the edge they've been pushed to as an opportunity to break free from everything holding them back. Every setback becomes raw material for reinvention. The failure that might cripple someone else becomes their catalyst, igniting a profound change that no one, sometimes not even the Sigma themselves, saw coming. This transformation is what makes them uncontainable. They shed old expectations, labels, and boundaries, emerging as a force that no longer fits into the boxes others try to impose. They don't just come back stronger, they come back untouchable, operating on a level that others can't even begin to compete with. Their newfound strength isn't just physical or mental, it's existential. They've redefined who they are, and by doing so, they've redefined the rules of the game. What's even more extraordinary is how effortless this shift appears. To the outside world, it looks as if they've unlocked a hidden reservoir of power, but in truth, they've simply embraced the edge they were pushed to. They no longer fight to prove anything to anyone. They fight to create. This is why a Sigma's comeback is never temporary or fleeting. They don't just recover. They become a force of nature, one that cannot be stopped, contained, or ignored. It's not a return, it's a rebirth. Number 6. Finding freedom on the edge. When a Sigma is pushed to their absolute limits, they reach a rare state of clarity that most people fear, the edge where everything seems lost. But unlike others who break under this pressure, a Sigma discovers something extraordinary. Freedom. The realization that there's nothing left to lose unshackles them from fear, expectations, and self-doubt. It's in this raw, unfiltered moment that their creativity explodes into untamed brilliance. This freedom isn't about recklessness, it's about liberation. With no safety nets, no comfort zones, and no illusions of control, the Sigma is forced to rely entirely on their own resourcefulness. And when there are no rules to follow or expectations to meet, their mind becomes a playground of possibilities. The edge, which most see as a dead end, becomes their launch pad. What makes this state so powerful is its unpredictability. Operating without the constraints of what should or must be done, the Sigma invents solutions, strategies, and paths that others simply can't conceive. Their actions defy conventional logic, not because they're irrational, but because they're unbound by fear. This kind of creativity isn't polished or perfect. It's raw, explosive, and unstoppable. Moreover, this newfound freedom transforms the Sigma's mindset. They no longer act out of desperation or survival, but out of a deep sense of purpose. Having faced their limits and survived, they know they have nothing to prove. Every move they make from this point forward is authentic, driven not by external pressures, but by their own vision. On the edge, where others falter, the Sigma thrives. They don't just find freedom, they wield it like a weapon, turning their lowest point into the ultimate catalyst for an extraordinary comeback. Number 7. The art of nonlinear moves. A Sigma comeback is never a straight line, and that's exactly what makes it so effective. While others are predictable, operating within well-trodden paths and established rules, a Sigma moves in ways that seem almost random, until you see the result. Their strategy is nonlinear, zigzagging through obstacles, creating confusion and leaving adversaries scrambling to understand what's happening. This unpredictability isn't accidental, it's deliberate. Sigmas thrive on keeping others off balance, refusing to play by rules that can be anticipated or countered. A direct approach might seem faster, but it's also easier to block. By moving sideways, doubling back, or even appearing to retreat, the Sigma turns their every action into a question mark. The more their adversaries try to predict them, the more disoriented they become. What's truly genius about this approach is how it weaponizes perception. Rivals can't track their moves because they can't figure out the pattern. The Sigma strikes from unexpected angles, exploiting weak spots no one else even considered. To an outsider, it looks chaotic. To the Sigma, it's precision, a fluid, adaptive dance that defies linear thinking. This art of nonlinear moves also reflects their refusal to conform. A Sigma isn't interested in doing what's conventional, even if it's proven to work for others. Instead, they rely on creativity, intuition, and a deep understanding of timing. They know when to wait, when to pivot, and when to strike, and their actions appear all the more devastating because no one saw them coming. By disrupting expectations, a Sigma's comeback becomes unstoppable. It's not just a return, it's a masterclass in unpredictability, proving that the straight path is often the weakest one. With nonlinear moves, the Sigma doesn't just win, they rewrite the game entirely. Number 8. harnessing the element of surprise. A Sigma's greatest strength is their ability to weaponize the element of surprise. Their unassuming nature, coupled with a preference for operating in the background, leads others to underestimate them. To most, they seem detached, uninvolved, or even indifferent. But that's exactly where their power lies. They're the quiet rebels who study the battlefield while everyone else is too busy making noise, waiting for the precise moment to strike. When the Sigma does act, it's never random. Their moves are timed to perfection, hitting at the exact moment when their impact will be most profound. They don't waste energy on grandstanding or premature displays of strength. Instead, they wait until the right opportunity, when the paradigm can shift in their favor and their action will resonate the loudest. This patience is what makes the Sigma's surprise so devastating. While others burn through their resources fighting visible battles, the Sigma calculates from the sidelines, watching weaknesses unfold and opportunities emerge. And because they've been underestimated, no one is prepared when they finally make their move. What seemed like silence was strategy. What appeared to be absence was observation. The power of this approach is that it disarms opponents before they even realize there's a fight. The Sigma doesn't come out swinging. They step in when everyone's guard is down. By the time their presence is felt, it's already too late to respond effectively. This ability to use invisibility as a tool to turn being underestimated into a tactical advantage makes the Sigma's resurgence not only unexpected but also unstoppable. They don't roar often, but when they do, it's a sound that changes everything. Number 9. Mastering the mind game. A Sigma's comeback is as much about mind games as it is about action. While most focus on the physical or tactical aspects of a comeback, a Sigma understands that true power lies in manipulating perceptions. They don't just engage their opponents on the surface. They dive deep into the psychological trenches, controlling the narrative and disarming their rivals before they even realize what's happening. The Sigma knows that perception is everything. By crafting a persona of detachment, mystery, or indifference, they make others misjudge their intentions, capabilities, and priorities. Opponents may think they've been overlooked or dismissed, but in reality, the Sigma is quietly calculating their every move, positioning themselves for maximum impact. This creates an illusion of vulnerability, one that lulls others into a false sense of security. They may think they have the upper hand, but the Sigma is setting the stage for their mental takeover. Once their rivals are caught in this trap, the Sigma's psychological strike comes swiftly. They know exactly when and how to push the right buttons, disrupting their opponent's focus, confidence, and even sense of self. By playing on emotions, fears, and insecurities, the Sigma destabilizes their adversary's mental state, making them far easier to outmaneuver. This isn't just manipulation for manipulation's sake. It's a precise strategy designed to render the opponent ineffective, leaving them too confused or distracted to mount a proper defense. What's brilliant about this approach is that by the time the Sigma delivers their final blow, it feels almost inevitable. The opponent, so mentally off balance, doesn't see it coming. Their energy is spent on defending against imagined threats, leaving them powerless against the real one. The Sigma doesn't need brute force to win. They need control of the mind, and when they've mastered that, victory is a foregone conclusion. Number 10. The allure of anonymity. The Sigma's allure lies in their ability to move through the world without leaving a trace, unseen, untethered, and free from the constraints of societal expectations. This anonymity is their superpower. While others are defined by their roles, their social circles, or the labels they wear, the Sigma thrives in the shadows, making their every move a mystery. Their comebacks are not announced. They're felt, sudden and electrifying, as if they appeared out of thin air. Because they don't conform to the usual patterns of behavior, there's no predictability to the Sigma. They don't make a habit of seeking attention or approval, which makes them impossible to track. People are quick to assume they're irrelevant or insignificant, but this is exactly what makes the Sigma's resurgence so potent. They can slip through the cracks of society's expectations, unnoticed until the moment when they shift the game entirely. This anonymity gives the Sigma a unique advantage. While others are bogged down by the weight of public expectations, the Sigma is free to operate without restriction. They can emerge anywhere, anytime, with no history of failure to haunt them and no reputation to uphold. This allows them to make their return on their own terms, unencumbered by the baggage of past perceptions. Their unpredictability is part of their power. No one knows when or where they'll strike, and that makes them a constant, nagging question in the minds of their adversaries. By remaining largely unseen, the Sigma controls the narrative of their comeback. There's no build-up, no fanfare, no warning. They're simply there, shaking the foundations of everything once thought stable. This ability to appear and disappear at will makes their resurgence not only more electrifying, but also more lasting. When a Sigma makes their return, it's not just a comeback, it's a reinvention, and the world is left scrambling to understand what just happened. The Sigma comeback isn't just a story of resilience, it's the ultimate act of transformation. When pushed to the edge, the Sigma doesn't crumble. They rise, not to reclaim what was lost, but to redefine everything. By blending calculated strategy with raw instinct, harnessing the element of surprise, and playing a psychological game that confounds their rivals, they create a return that feels almost inevitable, yet completely unpredictable. Their anonymity, once a quiet strength, becomes a weapon, allowing them to emerge untethered, free from expectations, and poised to reshape the game on their terms. It's not a comeback in the traditional sense, it's a rebirth, an evolution that turns every setback into fuel for reinvention. What others see as a limit, the Sigma sees as an opportunity to carve out a new path, one that's uniquely their own. Their strength doesn't lie in fitting into the system, it lies in their ability to break it, disrupt it, and most importantly, reinvent victory itself. By embracing the edge and everything it represents, the Sigma becomes not just a player in the game, but the one who rewrites the rules. In the end, a Sigma comeback isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving that when you're underestimated, the true power is in the quiet rise that no one sees coming. It's about owning your own narrative and using every setback as the fuel to build something stronger, bolder, and uncontainable. The Sigma's return isn't just a moment in time. It's the beginning of a new era. If you found yourself captivated by the Sigma's unexpected rise, the art of transformation, and the power of staying untouchable, then trust me, you're only scratching the surface. The journey of reinvention, mastery, and unshakable confidence is far from over, and we've only just begun to uncover the secrets behind the ultimate comeback. So if you want to keep diving deep into the mind of the Sigma, learning how to turn every challenge into your greatest opportunity, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This isn't just a subscription, it's your gateway to a world of untold strategies, personal reinvention, and the kind of power that stays beneath the radar until it's time to shift the game. Hit that button, turn on notifications, and get ready for a ride that'll keep you ahead of the curve every step of the way. This is just the start, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.